Hello, welcome everyone back to another episode of Chatty Art with myself, Jana, and Sandra. Well, today was my time to put together something, and I haven't got a specific presentation, but I do want to talk to something that's kind of been on my mind a lot lately, and well, I guess throughout my life. And when I start talking about this, Sandra, you'll know what it is. And
Immediately like, what?
yes,
Okay.
well, it's relating back to art in a way because it's it's basically the aging process. I've been talking to you, as you know, Sandra, and really struggling with just coming to terms with getting older, because we're in a world where, like art, we're changing the body. We don't want to grow old, and beauty is very much about staying young. And then there's all these extremes about how to do that. And to me, I'm sort of torn between the two. It's hard living in a world where you sort of got this pressure to be young, but then I'm so close to nature as well, and there's that part of just letting things be. And I think I'm coming to terms in you've got to know who you are, I feel, in order to mold, in order to sort of play this creative dance with life. Because I think the more you try and fight the aging process and go down maybe the beauty route, it's that constant insecurity, and it takes up so much of your time and just feeling you've got to look a certain way. And I think there is a freedom, or maybe we should have that freedom when we get older, just to let go of that and take on a new. And I'm not saying just like give up what you look like, I'm just saying not to have so much pressure to try and look like a 20, 30-year old, when I'm not. And so
Yeah.
I'm trying to put a mask on my face, I guess, wanting to do that in order to like fit in with what the beauty industry is saying. You don't let yourself go. And so, yeah, I've got a real pressure on my shoulders, and I just wanted to express that because I think a lot of people, when you go on Instagram and all these other, social media sites, you see the perfect side. Everybody puts the good front on there. And then there's now filters and AI, so you don't really know what's real. And you go on there, and for me, it's like I need to go to the real world and look at real people to see the truth. Because if I just focus mostly online, I'm only seeing these perfect pictures that people want to put up. And yes, some people do choose to, put their authentic selves out there, but it's not as many, I don't feel. And yeah, there's just this push pull, I guess. And coming to this place, it's like I'm trying to, in terms of bringing this back to art, is how we sort of artistically navigate the world as we age. So I wondered what your thoughts were on that, Sandra.
Yeah, well, I believe that we all kind of go through these stages, because we're so used to seeing ourselves, a certain way. And then as we age and you look in the mirror, it's like I came to terms one time, it's like, because I mean, I wasn't a person who looked in the mirror a lot because being a hairdresser, I was always looking at the other person in the mirror, trying to get their hair how they wanted it, etc.
Yeah.
I don't think I was ever really a per se mirror type person unless I just got into work and was just making sure like nothing was flopping out or something or whatever,
Mhm.
um, to be presentable for my clients. But getting back to that, as far as I think it's a stage people go through, and it's definitely we have to be very secure with ourselves
Mhm.
and just rely on our personality because everybody's going to age no matter what we do to ourselves. It's just going to be a continuous natural thing. And you've seen people who do a lot of surgeries and Botox and all that. As they age, they look very strange looking, like they terrible looking.
Right.
So I just think, each individual needs to kind of learn their own lessons on that and just try and be as natural as possible because that's where your happiness is going to come from. It's not going to come from, you know, trying to look like something or someone else, because they're doing it. I don't go down that road. Don't get me wrong. When I was younger, um, you know, I was into that because I was in the beauty world. So, in order to make money, you kind of had to be in that road, going down that path because, that's what we were taught.
Yeah.
So that's, summing it up, that's, what I think and, where I've been and where I'm at. And yeah, I'm just myself now, I mean, I can make myself look pretty on these videos and whatever, or when I go out. And I definitely don't go there. I just, be my natural self, make sure I'm clean, I smell good, and have clean clothes on, etc. But, you know, that's, that's where I'm at. I
Mhm.
don't care about all this fake, phony stuff. So it
Yeah.
doesn't get you anywhere in the end. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. I just recently as well saw this YouTuber. Somebody, she's usually really pretty and she's in her 30s. And people had been messaging her in the comments and saying, oh, where do you get your makeup done and how do you do this? So she decided basically to come on the camera with no makeup on whatsoever. And she put the camera right up to her face and showed like all the spots and things, and there was like veins in her eyes there, and it just was so refreshing, because it's like, yes, that's our natural look. That's who we are as it, and you could see in the comments, everyone's like, wow, it's like it took that pressure off, I guess, because you see these people that, and I think a lot
Mhm.
do look
Yeah.
up to them and they think, oh, look at them. But she was saying, that's not really me. This is the real me, and she said, and she was sort of about against pushing against those beauty standards because there is such a pressure and there's a lot of money behind beauty. And then you've got the celebrities. And then that pressure goes into our lives, with guys, they start looking, and I mean, I've spoken to a lot of guys and they don't like that look, they want the more natural, the ones I've spoken to anyway. I'm sure there are ones
The
that,
ones, yeah, those are the women they want for their wives,
yes, yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's just an interesting world that we're growing up with, with like you were saying, on a private call, about how AI is making us sort of turn into almost like robotic looking people, because we're looking at things so perfectly. It's like we want that perfection that we see in an AI looking design, but we're not robots, we're human, and it's like our skin
Hmm.
ages and science is trying to, find the ultimate sort of Alexa that's going to keep us never aging. I was looking into some of that. It was just interesting as I was wanting to do this talk, just to do a bit of research and
Yeah.
how they were testing on rats and finding that they could speed up the aging process, and they're looking at the DNA and stem cells. That's the other thing, and it's like,
Yeah. Big time.
yeah, it'd be crazy, wouldn't it, if we suddenly had that like the film, Who Wants to Live Forever, where you could do that. It's like that would be a bit strange somehow, wouldn't it? It's like if you never, I don't know. It's just made me think in so many different ways, I guess, that about life and how it's a creative process. I think that's what,
Definitely.
creation is saying that we're never going to stay stagnant. We're never going to be that same person. Like we come into this world as a little baby and we're changing all the time. And we think once we reach this adult, it's like we want to freeze it there. It's like, let's freeze the frame. And yet we're still going through, and there's it depends where you look. There's older people who are really embracing their age and they're just loving life, and they're really just doing a lot of
Hmm.
things that they probably wouldn't have done when they were 30. I've got a lady I know, she is talking about jumping out of a plane, and it's like she's in her 60s.
Yeah.
Whoa, and then like I
I've
don't even want
I've
to,
watched some, yeah, I've watched some. I was just gonna say I've watched some of those too. It's just amazing. It's like, okay, is she senile? Doesn't realize what she's gonna do right now. You know what I mean? Are you
yeah.
that far gone that you're gonna jump out of a perfectly good plane at like 96 or whatever?
That's a no-go for you, Alexandra. You're not going to do that. Mm.
Oh, hell no. I'm frightened of heights. You kidding me? No. Well, when I was younger, I was brave, but yeah, but I still didn't want to jump out of a plane. Okay.
Oh, no. No, I've never had that urgency. It's hard enough flying, is it, let alone jumping out of it, you know? I'm sort of nervous with the turbulence. So, yeah.
Well, especially nowadays with all the fires and the crashes, that is kind of odd going on.
Yeah. Let me share my screen. I just wanted to show some pictures I picked up of that I was
Yes.
thinking about this. So yeah, I just wanted to show this picture on how we go from being a child right up to adults there and then down again. It's a bit like a bridge. You can kind of see that we go up and then down. And I was just thinking how, we're going through this creative process and we don't really realize it because it's so subtle. It's not like we suddenly are, boom, oh, I'm a teenager now, from a child. It's like that subtle change. And I guess you do notice it more as you're aging, but it is like the creator is saying, this body is only temporary. We're not going to have it forever. So don't get too attached to it. It's like
Yeah.
it's
And
a
and
ride.
notice how like when you're at a certain age, time is flying by.
Yes.
When you're younger, it's the opposite. It
Hmm.
takes forever to be a teenager. We all want to be a
Right.
teenager,
Yeah.
right? And then we want to be 21, you know? And so from 21 to like 45, those are like yippee, good times,
Yes.
You're doing well, hopefully, in your career or, your interests or, your mate, anyways, to me, that was a good time of
Mm.
life because
Yeah.
there was a lot going on. And then as you age, like, you've already done all that stuff. And so you're kind of like in your relaxing stage now, which is hard to get into, actually. For
Mm.
me, anyways, it was
Right.
to slow down and yeah, it's
Yes.
all good. It's all good. It's just different.
Yeah. That is it. No. So here's another photo I found interesting. You know how they're using art to show age and
Oh, that is interesting, Janet.
yeah, yeah. It's just the big difference in how the skin changes, over time. It's a lot of people say, it is a luxury to grow old because not everybody does. And so it's a
True.
privilege in a lot of
Hmm.
ways. And those lines are like art, they indicate you've had a long life and different. It's kind of like, yeah, each line tells a story in a way,
Hmm.
like a tapestry.
Yeah.
And it's just a shame we're kind of like, oh, it's not allowed to be that way, like we need to get rid of it, rub it out. It's like rub out the journey of life.
Yeah. Well, we're just brainwashed to think that way. So
Mm,
unfortunately, that's why. I
yeah.
mean, if you look at other cultures, they really hold up to their elderlies, like not
Yeah.
hold up, you know what I mean? Like they look up to them and,
Yes.
take good care of them
Yeah,
and
they revere them.
respect them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And a lot get the young to hang out with the elders because of the wisdom. It's like a wisdom
Oh,
transfer.
yeah. Good point.
Yeah. So
Very,
I
yeah.
think,
Very good point.
yes. Because I
And
think,
it also, oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was just say it also helps the elderly, right? Because the energy playing off of the child,
Hmm.
they
Yes.
get that from the child, right? And
Yes.
the playfulness and stuff, and the laughter,
Yes.
stuff that elderly don't probably get every day.
That is so true. I mean, when I'm around my nieces who were like 8, but when they were 5, 6, 7, they're so joyous to be around. They're just so fun and light-hearted. They get me watching cartoons with them, and getting into that I wouldn't normally do. So yeah,
Mhm.
you see it with my mom as well. Like, when she's around them, she's just so much more happier and just doing things that she wouldn't normally do. They take you back to that childhood of your own, the innocent, that
Yeah.
takes you into that energy. Yeah.
Yeah, they get you out of yourself.
Absolutely. Yes.
Mhm.
That is the key.
Oh, look. Oh, yeah. Now I can really relate to that one. Thanks, Janet.
I wasn't doing that, but it just shows like even in the hands
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it does.
change.
Yeah.
in our age. And there's a beauty because you see in that, the little ones just getting into the world, and it's like, and then those lines again are showing how much hard work and all the stuff that we've done. It's like it should be revered, really, isn't it? We've got it back to
Yeah.
front. It's like we don't revere it. We're sort of against it. It's like, oh no, you can't be looking like that. Whereas depending who you're with, it is a beautiful process.
And that's a good point, depending on who you're with and around.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we're mostly talking about society way of looking at things, like,
Yes.
and how like it is harmful.
Hmm.
It's harmful because it makes people feel really insecure and that they're not good enough.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it's just better not to be in that place or looking at life like that. That's just, my opinion. So,
Yeah, I think it is good to get out and make sure you connect with, your community and people here, because I think the world is getting a lot online, and we're getting very isolated as people. And it's like, and this is not the real world. Online is not the real world. When I go out and I look
mhm,
amongst, there's people of all ages looking all different ways, not this
mhm.
like sort of isolated look that we see, and it's if everybody could just put their real selves out there, that would be so much more refreshing. So I admire people who do, decide to go, right, I'm going to just put myself out as I am. No makeup, nothing.
Yeah.
Here's another one. I thought this was quite creative. I'll just move our picture. You can see that.
Melania Trump, she reminds me of.
But it's clever, isn't it? It's like, but they do make it look so brutal, like there, because aging isn't quite that severe. Even in the hand, where they've made the hand, the nails are all brown and like, they've really made it sort of. I guess this
Yeah.
is more a sort of a campaign to go for beauty, because they've made the older side not look as pretty when really it is. It's like they've made it. That's my opinion anyway. I don't know what you
It
think.
looks like chicken skin.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like human, but yes. And then I would just wanted to show some Botox pictures, of how people are going from this look is sort of out, like and they're only quite young, I think her face was fine before that, and just going towards this polished kind of look. The freeze brows. They've even done it with this older woman here, who it's not that different, but it's like
No,
yeah.
it's the lighting. The lighting looks different. And her headband is on differently too. Just it's closer to her in the lighter picture. It's
Yes.
closer to her forehead.
Ah, clever, yes, see. Selling the product again, selling it.
Hmm.
And then I put this one up because I thought it showed how important it is to know who you are. Because if you don't, then you're just like that, like a molded face. You know what I mean? I think that's why a lot of kind of going for that look, because they don't really know who they are, and they've been sort of swallowed up by the beauty industry that's saying that's what you need to look like everybody else. Just keep your face like so polished. But like when you know who you are, like you see people who are in the public eye who just know, and they're not like people can say whatever, like somebody like David Goggins. He's quite extreme. He's like one of these he's gone from a pretty hard life, but he's very tough. And he kind of yeah, he knows who he is, you know what I mean, and what he stands for and what he wants, and he doesn't let the world sort of hurt him. He's got his own real strong knowingness about him, so that's what I admire, these people who are very strong in their character, and they're the ones that get ahead, and they're the ones that turn out to be leaders, leaders of this world, because the ones following these sort of messages that are pumped out for money are not really following their own path. I don't feel, there's well, they'll be leading it in some ways, but just yeah, I just think it's
Hmm.
important.
Yeah, interesting.
And then I thought I'd end on this quote from Pink, the singer. She said, "True beauty is knowing who you are and what you want and never apologizing for it." I thought, yeah.
Too bad she doesn't follow her own advice.
I don't know much about pink. Is that true?
Well, yeah, you know me, I research things,
Ah,
people.
okay.
Yeah. But, hey, it is what it is. It's her life. And I mean, I think she's talented, don't get me wrong. It's just I know some backstory stuff on her. I mean, if it's even real, you know,
Yeah.
we don't know what's real anymore and what's not, let's face it.
No, sure.
So
So yes. So
that
that,
was really good.
yeah.
I
Okay.
like ye.
Thank you. Well, I hope
Hmm.
it helps some people out there, who might be facing this type of thing or just looking at their lives. I think it's just to put your life in perspective and to make sure that you're getting, the true picture of what the world looks like, not going too much online and getting too consumed by it, and that embracing aging, embrace it because life is a privilege. Like I said, it's a privilege.
Hmm.
And if something sort of terrible was to happen, you'd soon forget about what you looked like,
Yeah, good point.
it would bring you back to the truth of life. Because I think we
Hmm.
forget sometimes when we're too comfortable. Um, yeah. So yes. So that's it from
All
me.
righty.
All right.
Well, thank you, Janet. I really enjoyed our chat today, our artistic beauty thrown in there with our chatting today was fun.
Yeah, yeah. Just a bit different.
Hmm. We want different. We don't want the same thing over and over again. That's for
No,
sure.
that's it. Yeah, we're trying to make this channel covering all kinds of topics around art, and it can go in many different forms. Art and life are intertwined. So,
And conversation as well about it.
yeah, absolutely. So, if
Yeah.
you enjoyed it as well, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe.
Yeah, if you want to see more of us two crazy birds.
We've gone through the ages. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time for another episode of Chatty Art. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.